Alright guys, today we're getting right into it. No channel update, no gimmicks, no little jokes, just going straight into the content today. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today in this short video, I just want to tell a quick story from back when I was first starting my professional life and a lesson I learned a long time ago about how if I wanted to be as good as I could be at the job that I was doing, then I had to learn about the jobs and the goals of all the people who were working around me. So a long time ago, long before I ever thought about working for myself or getting into voiceover, I actually worked as an emergency medical technician. I had this idea about going into working in the medical field in the more emergency side, possibly going on to paramedic school after that. Got a lot out of it, ultimately ended up going different routes with my career, but it was a very valuable experience for what it was. And as part of schooling for becoming an EMT, we had to attend a number of ride-along shifts as part of the curriculum. So in addition to our coursework and showing up to class and doing demos, we would also join actual live ambulance crews out in the field, where we would stick with them for a shift, we'd show up to calls, watch how they respond to things, help them out in little ways that we could, and just see everything that we were learning about in the classroom coming to practical effect in the actual field. Obviously, it was a very useful experience being able to go out and see what was actually going on in the world and get a little bit of real-world experience before you ever graduated or started looking for an actual job yourself. So I believe it was we had to follow along for at least 3 or 4 ride-along shifts in order to graduate. But in addition to the shifts where we rode along at the ambulance, we had to do at least one shift where we were also hanging out in the emergency room with the nurses, hospital techs, physician's assistants, and folks there. And honestly, the shift that I worked in the emergency room was almost even more eye-opening, and I almost learned even more than I did on any of the shifts that I did doing the ride-alongs on the ambulance. So on the ambulance ride-alongs, you're working very directly with EMTs and paramedics, the kind of jobs that you're going to be going into, and watching them go through the process of first engaging with patients as they take them out to the hospital and check them into the ER. But then actually working in a clinical setting in the ER, you get to see what happens to the patients after you drop them off in the ER, which normally you don't spend a lot of time with when you're working as a paramedic or an EMT. Not only does this give you a bigger picture perspective about how the job that you do fits into the bigger medical process, but it also gave me insights into how I could do my job in such a way that would make it easier for the people I'm working with to do their job. So when you understand what everyone's doing in the emergency room, it gives you a sense for what kind of information do you need to gather and stuff that you need to do on your end so that they can give the patient the best care when you hand them off to them. And this is a lesson that I took with me everywhere that I went in every job that I did after that. And now, working for myself in voiceover, this lesson still has a number of different applications. So in voiceover, I work with a lot of different sorts of people. I'll often work directly with other actors when we're rehearsing together. I'll work with audio engineers, I'll work with video editors, script writers, casting directors, and sometimes I'll work directly with the end client, who's ultimately going to be using my voiceover for their product. Everybody involved in this process has their own job to do that contributes to the final product, and the better that any one individual person does in their job, makes it easier for everybody else to do a great job in what they're doing. So for example, when I'm working directly with an audio engineer, maybe I'm doing a Source Connect session or I'm recording live in a studio where somebody else is monitoring my audio levels and recording things for me so I can just worry about talking into the microphone. Understanding how they do their job, I can start to space out my takes so that it makes it easier for them to cut up and move around. And I can also be mindful about how I position myself relative to the microphone so that I'm not generating a lot of plosives or mouth noise or other extraneous sounds that the audio engineer would then need to go out later and cut out. Also, when I'm working with a video editor, sometimes they'll have the video ready, and then I can look at that and I can space out my takes in such a way that makes it easier for them to drop my voice lines into the video in the places where it most makes sense. And then lastly, when I'm working with other actors who are in the same scene as me, even if I'm not recording directly with the other actors at the same time, when I hear their voice and when I listen to their takes, it better informs my own delivery so that when I'm submitting and recording my part of the conversation, understanding how the other people talk, I can record and speak in such a way to make it sound like the conversation that we're having is more cohesive. And I gotta say, after doing this for a while, people notice this kind of stuff too. People love to work with people that are easy to work with. So often you go through the world and a lot of people don't really appreciate what goes into the jobs that other people do. And this can lead to things like unrealistic expectations about other people's abilities, miscommunications, confusion, or straight up people just becoming impatient with each other because they're expecting one thing and then the other person gives them a different one. And believe me, I've worked with my own share of clients who have made requests and given directions that really indicated that While they were well intended, they didn't totally understand the full process of what goes into putting together a successful voiceover recording. But when you're that rare person who can go the extra mile and learn about other people's jobs and act in such a way that makes their lives easier, you're like a godsend to them. The end product is better, and everyone just enjoys the process that much more. Not to mention, if somebody enjoys working with you, they're going to be much more inclined to work with you again in the future. And when you're running a business and you like to hold on to as many recurring clients as you can, doing work for the same people over and over again, it certainly helps that you guys have a good working relationship and have a good understanding about what the other person needs and how the other person works. So whatever you do in your life, whether you're a voice actor, whether you're an emergency medical technician, or any other sort of professional, exercise a little bit of empathy. Spend a little time learning about your coworkers and clients and their own experience. And it will make the whole process of everything that you guys do together a lot smoother. So that'll wrap it up today. Thanks guys as always for tuning in. Always appreciate folks coming by and leaving comments and being part of the conversation. Really looking forward to this week as I've been working on some stuff in the back end that I'm hoping to really level up some of the things going on at the channel. Looking at maybe picking up some new hardware first, maybe getting some more acoustic foam that I can put up on the back to fill up my studio a little bit and better control the sound. And I also subscribed to a service last night that gives me access to a whole massive library of copyright-free music, audio, and video that I can hopefully integrate to spice up my production that much more. So once again, thanks as always, take care, God bless. I'll see you in the next one.